Hello? Hello? Hey! Welcome to Tomo stream. Hi, Mina. Hi, Tomo. Hello. Welcome in. Hi, everybody. Hi, Tomo. So, kind of quiet. I'm fine, actually. How dare you? Yeah, it's because... Oh, no, it's too loud. Tomo ready for their shift. Yeah, I am. This was a last-minute decision just before stream. I found a police camp and I got a raid already! Hello! Welcome in, raiders! Hello! Welcome in, raiders! What were you up to? I hope you had a good stream. I just got started. I'm here. I just got started. Hello. How's it going? Playing some Oblivion. Ooh, I was being a wizard. Ooh, fun times. That sounds like fun. I have never played Oblivion. I played Skyrim, but I've never played Oblivion. I hope it went well for you. For anyone who does not know, hello. Hi, Tomo. My name is Tomo Koinaba, the Ninja Red Panda. Today I'm gonna be doing a very specific stream. I'm gonna be delivering a PowerPoint. So that'll be fun. I'm not entirely sure why voice mod didn't work, so I might go quiet for a second. Ah, yes! And this is all because of WWF. We raised $150, so I was allowed to do a Tomo Yaps About FNAF stream, and I'm gonna teach you all about it. Let me just do this. Okay, I'm not sure why voice mod is not playing ball today. It's very annoying, but we move. Tomo Yap stream peak. Thank you. I am very excited for this stream. I've made a whole PowerPoint. I've put a lot of effort into this, so I'm very excited. Oh, heck. My best laid plans have gone awry. Hang on. I just realized that I don't have the fonts that I used on my laptop on my PC. This is very annoying. Okay. Hang on. Don't worry. I can install them. Cause I remember it was this one. It was this font. So I'm gonna install that real quick. Told me you're going on my phone and in my pocket. I need to make food, but I still want to hear you yap. Ah, of course. Professional strummer. I am a professional strummer. How dare you? Yeah, please go ahead and get food after stream, of course. Do not, starve yourself for me. I tell ya. Take care. But yeah, I appreciate being put in your pocket. I'm a portable Tomo. I'm a little pocket Tomo, and I'm here to teach you all about Five Nights at Freddy's. And yeah, it's information that you didn't know you needed. You know, it's gonna be one of those things. How did this happen? But yeah. I'm still here, don't worry. You're still here. Pocket-sized Tomo. Haha! I'm in your pocket. Tomo in your pocket, what will she do? I don't know, just be in your pocket, I guess. But, you know. So, I am stalling for time a little bit, because I wanted to get the ad out of the way, but the ad seems to be done. Please don't eat my lint. It's okay, I don't want to. That's the other font. I don't really need that font. That font wasn't really a requirement for me. That was just you know, silly. I keep my water bottles on my pocket so Tomo will drown. No! Joke's on you, I'm drinking the water. Ah. Anyway. So today, of all days, we are going to be learning all about the wonderful, deeply confusing series that is Five Nights at Freddy's. We're gonna be going through in timeline order. Yeah, that's right, timeline. And I have a very special assistant with me today. You guys can't see him, but he is on stream with me today. His name is Helpy. He's in my arms. I'm holding him in my arms. and, you know, he's my baby boy, and I love him so very much. But, with that said, let's just get silly. I love FNAF Noir. I love how little I understand despite how much I know. Yeah, see, that's the thing, and I'm hoping to clear up a couple of things today. I'm hoping to make a few more things a little bit more clear. Thank you for the hydrate email. I'll take a sippy. But yeah, and there will be a test at the end. There will be a test. You will be being tested on everything. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Now I just need to recrop this so it's not all cropped and crunchy, so you guys can see the whole of my PowerPoint. Because I made this especially for you guys. I know, I'm so kind, aren't I? So, here we go. What's for the glam rocks? Ah, the glam rocks, yes. Very good. I love them. So, to get started, we need some fitting music. We need some fitting music, and I thought this was pretty fitting. Because it's the menu theme from Pizzeria Simulator. And it's a good little place to start. It's a happy little cheery start. I have an algebra tomorrow, FNAF test. I go for today. Got my priorities straight. Of course. Of course. You know, every day's a school day. You never stop learning, and this is important information. So, today, welcome to Tomo Teaches a Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, I'm gonna put this out here right at the beginning. This is a disclaimer. Because good heavens, I'm just one Tomo, okay? I'm just one little panda. I am not the be-all, end-all of information. No one is, really, except for Scott Cawthon himself. I want to put a trigger warning out there, obviously, because it's Five Nights at Freddy's. People die, particularly children. It's not a great time, and, you know, their family, some kid's gonna die tonight, yeah, pretty much, and the family things, and the family dynamics are not great. There is not a very healthy family going on here, and as you can see, the iceberg over there, the FNAF iceberg, now, I can probably, wait, FNAF is hashtag problematic? What the fuck? Well, I mean, we'll talk about that, but, yeah, so, as you can see, there's a lot of, stuff on the iceberg. I know most of it. I know most of the stuff on here. But, you know, that's, you know, neither here nor there. But this is gonna be, to the best of my ability, as detailed as I can figure out how to make it. Hooray. So, let me try and find some of the piano music. Let me try and find some of the ominous piano music to put in the background. I like the ominous piano music. Where is it? Nah, that's too sad. Nah. Okay. I don't know what music to put on the background of this. Let's just go relaxing FNAF tunes. There is a whole playlist, so I was listening to it. Here we go. Okay. Lovely. I'm gonna make a choice here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna press some buttons, and you guys aren't gonna know what I'm doing. I'm gonna take the music off the VOD. So then if I download the VOD and make it into a video in the future, I can put the music in. And it can be whatever I want it to be. So, yeah. Yippee. So here we go. FNAF is all about a pair of men. A pair of... Oh no, wait, hang on. There we go. There's more stuff first. Hang on. Okay, so, as you can see, there are many videos on the internet. There are two different game theories on here. One of these, so this is obviously dual process theory. This, I don't know whose video this is. This is a game theory. Don't know whose video this is. This is another game theory. This is, John FNAF. Again, not sure where I got this from. And this is a Dorko video. There are many videos on the internet. True. And, someone might look at these, right? Someone might look at all of these, and all of the real story of FNAF. We solved FNAF. I solved FNAF. The final clue. The full timeline. And you might think, how did we get here? How did we get here? How did we get from Freddy Fazbear? Yay! And now there's also streaming the internet. Thank you for the sub, Kazooie! Ah, you're so sweet. Okay, so, how did we get here? That's a good question. Well, it all started in 2014. Sort of. 2014 was when the very first FNAF game was released. Five Nights at Freddy's was released in 2014. Towards the end of September, because we very recently had the FNAF 10-year anniversary. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of fun things happening. And basically, it was released without a whole lot of storytelling. For anyone who's seen the gameplay of the first game, you know that, like, it involves just kind of sitting in a security office and not getting got. But there's also a funny man talking to you, and his name is Phone Guy, and he's telling you some interesting things about these robots. And then, unfortunately, ultimately, but we'll talk more about him later. This ain't about him yet. They tend to get a little active. So, there were some people noticed, in the background of the pizzeria. There were some news articles, there were some newspaper clippings about some missing kids. And there was a heavy implication that the reason that the animatronics were getting a little bit funky was ghosts! 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 And like I said, FNAF, at its core, is about two men. And, some could say that they were friends. Just kidding. Anyway, so this is Henry. Hi, Teach. Sorry, my previous clan website. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're here just in time to learn about our main two dudes. We're learning about our main two mans. So, like I said, friends. Wait, Freddy, Five Bears is about FNAF is yaoi? Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. So, Henry. Technically, his full name is no relation to any similarly named characters, you understand, Possum? No one says anything about my boy. Anyway, so, Henry, his surname isn't 100%. So, the character encyclopedia, which is where I got this, text box from, the character encyclopedia does not give him a surname, but it gives his daughter a second name, a name that could possibly be a middle name, or it could be her surname. So many people around the fandom use it as Henry's surname as well, and that surname is Emily. So we may or may not keep referring to this man as Henry Emily, you know, for reasons, not to confuse him with any other Henrys that may or may not exist. So Henry Emily is, as you can possibly see, the engineer of the two. He's the creative one. He's a human. He only has one game appearance, and you do not see him. You hear him. He speaks to you in Pizzeria Simulator, but in the novel, he is talked about in the Silver Eyes. Charlie talks. He's thinking about building some fucking robots. Yeah, he's thinking about those robots because, you know, that's his thing. Oh my god, Ducky's getting detention. This will be on your test! You better be paying attention! He loves his robots. He sure does. So that's part one of our boif. And here's the friends. So this lovely image here This lovely image here is by an artist called Chloe Imagine. I love Chloe Imagine's comics. They make so many very funny FNAF comics. But some of you may recognize this as dialogue from Into the Spider-Verse. As we look at our second of the two, William Afton. Now, William Afton is a name that many people may have heard. But he has several other aliases, also known as Purple Guy, Dave Miller, Steve Raglan, you know, and here are some of, the comic shows off some of his various appearances. This appearance over here is primarily a fandom. Teacher, why is he Urple? Well, thank you for following. It is because it is supposed to represent shadow. So shadows in old games were usually purple. So Purple Guy, he was a shadowy figure, basically. So this is kind of more of a fandom appearance. These two, I believe, are more sort of based on... This is primarily based on Dave Miller. This is how Chloe draws William mostly. And this is, God love him, Matthew Lillard, Steve Raglan. And then obviously this is just the sprite. Shadow the Hedgehog. No! Stop saying Shadow the Hedgehog. Children! Sit down! Stop saying that! Okay. Like I said, we have his data file from the character encyclopedia. And yes, his full name is William Afton. Thank you, Hugo. Anyway, so he does begin the series as a human. That changes, and we shall delve into what exactly that entails later. However, why does it sound like H-Bomb? It's not. It's Brian David Gilbert. So, as for appearances, this guy is everywhere. He's in all of them, pretty much. He is everywhere. This guy shows up everywhere. He can't stop showing up. Fucking bastard. Like he said, he always come back. Sad face. He also is in Silver Eyes, Twisted Ones, and the Fourth Closet. And he appears in a few short stories, such as The Man in Room 1280 and The Stitch Wraith Stingers, where he is a 16-foot tall trash rabbit. But maybe we'll talk about that later. Maybe we won't. The novels are a scary place, and I have not read them, and I do not intend to. I've only read one of the novels, that being VIP, when I played it on stream. He's a 16-foot... Yes, a 16-foot tall trash rabbit. That is, in fact, a thing that happens in the novels. Because that's, you know... Anyway... Let's start with the timeline. So, the earliest back we're going is the 1970s. Now, we have this poster here for Fall Fest. It's a little cut off by the visual, but it does say Fall Fest 1970. This is a poster from several places, it appears. Help Wanted 2, it appears in. Fall Fest is also mentioned in Help Wanted, the first one. And of course, excitingly enough, we have the upcoming game, Secret of the Mimic, which is wildly speculated, with good reason, of course, that it will be taking place somewhere in the 1970s, given that in the trailer, there is a date that flashes on screen that is in the 1970s. But you see, when it comes to the Secret of the Mimic, we just don't know. We just do not know yet. It's not out yet. There's not a whole lot we can say about the 1970s. We can't tell you too much about this part of the timeline, because we don't know a whole lot about this part of the timeline. All we do know is that there was a fire at Fall Fest. And who's to say the repercussions of that? Moving on, we have the pre-1983. So, again, we're very nebulous with dates here, but at some point these two men got together and became the besties that they are, or at least the business partners that they are, and they founded Fredbear's Family Diner. Why does Freddy look so freaky? Well, this is because they drew him as an actual bear. The two men got together. These two men got together. So on the left, we have William Afton there, and on the right, we have Henry. I find it funny that Henry is always appearing in, like, dungarees and, like, a lumberjack shirt. It's kind of silly. And then William Afton is obviously always in, please don't eat in class, and if you are going to eat in class, be quiet. William Afton, yes, in fact. Oh my god, I'm late for class! Palm! Oh my god. I swear to god, this dog, her record is appalling. Appalling. It's okay, Palm, we haven't gotten too far into the timeline. Perhaps you can check someone else's notes before we go into the test later. Now, you know, oh, Possum, thank you! No one tell the teacher I am working on art. It's okay if you're multitasking, as long as you are listening. Yes, all of this information will be on your test. All of this information will be on your test later. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I'm working on art of these two gay men. Go ahead, that's your prerogative. So, Fredbear's Family Diner was the first location that these two men founded. And you might be thinking, will we get a recording of this lesson? Yes, I will download this VOD, and it will be available. So, you may be thinking, what, Tomo? A Fredbear Family Diner, but what about FNAF the Pizzeria? What's going on here? Thank you. Okay. Hugo, if you interrupt any more times, you will be going to timeout. Anyway, so you might be thinking, Tomo, what Fredbear Family Diner? I'm glad you asked. Look at these two fuckers. These two are our first ever characters made by Henry and William. Primarily Henry. Are these their personas? One could argue that perhaps Spring Bonnie is William's persona and Fredbear is Henry's persona. And the interesting thing about these two is they are not simply just animatronics. So this image of them comes from FNAF World. So Bonnie and Fredbear are like a thing? Well, who's to say? Wink. Anyway, these two are not simply animatronics. These are a special type of animatronic. They originally existed as suits. One of the most current running theories is that they existed as physical fabric suits that were never animatronic in the first place, before they existed as the interchangeable spring lock suits. So, spring locks are a mechanical little thing that allow for animatronic parts to be put into a suit, so it can function as an animatronic, but also they can be wound back to pull the animatronic parts out of the way so a person can climb into said suit and wear it and thus perform. Now, it is pretty easy to guess that William most likely did perform as Bonnie. Whether or not Henry ever performed as Fredbear is not sure, but there is a lot of evidence. There's a lot of, I want to wear your skin, but like kid-friendly. Yeah, definitely. But there's a lot of evidence that William has performed as Bonnie, and there were various other performers playing these characters at the time of Fredbear's. However, there was an additional member of the team over at Fredbear's Family Diner. The security puppet. And this is a special animatronic sort of thing, created by Henry, primarily to keep an eye on his daughter, Charlie. Why is he so tall? That's a good question. Doesn't feel very secure around the... Oh, you know. So, Henry created this, puppet to keep an eye on his daughter, Charlie. Charlotte. She, had a special green wristband that allowed the puppet to recognize her, and, you know, make sure she didn't leave the building. Just keep an eye on her. Lottie, one could say, or Charlie, you know. Moving on from that, 1983. So, 1983 was a very bad year for children. So, on our left here, we have young Charlie, daughter of Henry Emily. And there is her bright green security wristband. Now, unfortunately, this sprite is of Charlie being locked outside of Fredbear's. Although, at this point, it was possibly a pizzeria. It wasn't the original Fredbear's location. It's a little bit foggy on that one. But, whatever. Whatever the case, she was locked outside. And, unfortunately, someone, a mysterious person, killed her outside of the pizzeria that day. Someone, who could it be, killed her outside the pizzeria, and heartbroken, the security puppet forced itself outside in the rain and came to lay on top of her body, which sort of connected the two, and her spirit wound up inside the puppet. So when we talk about the puppet, we use she, her, because it has Charlie in her. Puppet contains the spirit of Charlie. As for the other people on this screen, the crying child, whose name is quite a large debate across the fandom. I have my own personal theory that I agree with. It's not my personal theory, it's a theory that I've heard, but I personally agree with it. But crying child, unfortunately, and these bullies over here. So, the bully in a game theory? I know. This bully here in the Foxy mask is actually a young man called Michael Afton. And this is his younger brother. And Michael Afton and his friends bullied poor crying child quite a lot because he cried and it was funny to them. Teenagers are assholes. And they would bully him because he cried very easily. And one time at a birthday party, they thought it would be very funny to pick him up. So they lifted up this child, and they said, let's go make him give Freddy a kiss. Now, on stage, there was the Fredbear animatronic performing. So its mouth was moving up and down, opening and closing, because it was singing. And the rabbit was also on stage. And they lifted him up, and they placed him into the mouth of Fredbear, to which... B. That's one of my model changes, but that's already this model. So they placed him in the mouth of Fredbear, and the animatronic closed its mouth on the child's head. So that was, in fact, the bite of 83. There was a horrifying crunch as the bullies realized what they did. And as the crying child fell limp, with his head stuck inside of Fredbear. This music is not fitting. Good lord. Right. But his head stuck inside of Fredbear, closed on top of him. Some people say that it was a spring lock failure, because his tears moistened the spring locks. However, I disagree with this, because... Yippee! There was a sickening crunch. Nah. I disagree that it was the spring lock failure because, and this is, using logic and things, Fredbear was already opening and closing his mouth. So the fact that he closed his mouth on top of this child's head doesn't deviate from what the animatronic was already doing. So, unfortunately, the crying child is in a coma and passes away from their injuries. Let's see if we can get... So which fit is this? Here we go. This is a little bit better. So unfortunately, he was... he succumbs to his injuries, with his close his dearly beloved plush toy of a golden Freddy, promising to him that he would be put back together. As for what that means, yeah, hydraulics, that kid didn't stand a chance. As for what "I will put you back together" means, we're not entirely sure. But yeah. Moving onwards, 1985. Again, not a very good year to be a child. Because 1985 was when there was the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. So, the location of the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria is the location of the first FNAF game. However, the first FNAF game has not happened yet. I will tell you when it does, but it has not happened yet. It is 1985, and 5 children are missing. So, this young lady here is a girl called Susie, and we find out about Susie through a minigame known as Fruit Maze, and we find out that little Susie, her dog was hit by a car, and she was quite upset about it. However, a figure appears behind her and says, "Your dog isn't dead. He's over here. Follow me." And in the reflection, we see Susie and a large yellow rabbit standing behind her. And the large yellow rabbit leads her away. And Susie was the first of the missing children. And Susie was placed inside of Chica. As for the other children, she has seen everything. She likes to remind us of that fact. Her dog, it is theorized, the spirit of her dog resides inside Chica's cupcake, hence why it likes to bite. Now, an interesting thing about these newspaper clippings is it speaks about 2 children were lured into the back room. Some people believe that these 2 children that were killed together were the spirits of Gabriel, who is inside of Freddy, and I don't remember what the name of Bonnie, the Bonnie child, but people believe that this was the Freddy child and the Bonnie child. And the local pizzeria, there's odor issues because obviously the animatronics have corpses inside them, and corpses start to smell when they rot. Obviously William didn't think that far ahead, but it was good enough to get him away with murder. And the most interesting detail down here, down at the bottom left, is where it says, 5 children now reported missing, suspect convicted. Now, here's one of our first sort of theory things here. William Afton and Henry Emily. Obviously, William Afton did not go to prison, because there are other things that continue to happen. There are more events that happen after this, that indicate that he was still active. So, a common theory, and one that I quite enjoy, is the reason that we do not hear from Henry Emily for the rest of this timeline is because Henry was wrongly convicted of these 5 murders. So, it explains his absence, and because it says there was a suspect convicted, we know it wasn't William. So it is likely that perhaps the narrative that it was revenge for his own daughter being killed, perhaps just misusing, his creations, because he was the creator of these suits, These were his animatronics, and obviously the characters were being used to lure the children away, and the 2 suspects would be Henry and William, and unfortunately it would seem that Henry took the fall for William's actions, because William remained at large for quite a long time after this. But anyway, let's have a look at our fun cast. Have you met them yet? Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy. So here are our main 4 animatronics. Yippee! Have a look at them. Who's your favorite? Who's everyone's favorite here? I love them all. So yes, we do have Foxy, we have Bonnie, we have Chica, we have Freddy. I put them in this order specifically because it's the order Vanessa introduces them in the movie. I'm a little bit of a nerd like that. My favorite's Foxy. Foxy Enjoyers. We've got some Foxy Enjoyers in the chat. Unfortunately, I'll speak about it a little bit later. Unfortunately, Foxy doesn't get a lot of mileage in this series. And like I said, I'll explain later, why I believe Foxy doesn't get a lot of mileage in this series. Cupcake Stan here, hell yeah. I mean, dog sees dog. Pom sees that cupcake. Pom's like, that cupcake got that dog in her. You know? And so these are our, our first 4 animatronics. There's also, there's also this guy. He's, yep. Anyway. 1987! Yippee! This is our first game! And it's FNAF 2. Whose dog is that? Bitch, get your dog! It don't bite. Yes, it do! Poor crying child. Right. Okay. So. 1987 is the year that FNAF 2 takes place. That's right. FNAF 2 comes first. It is a prequel, gamers. And in FNAF 2, we are playing as a young man called Jeremy Fitzgerald. Yippee! He gets paid $100.50 for his work at Fazbear Entertainment. He works for a week before Phone Guy speaks about there's some restructuring going on while he is attending. I will take a sip. Thank you very much. I hope everyone else is taking a sip. There's some restructuring going on. There's some interesting events happening, and one of the final phone calls that you get from Phone Guy in FNAF 2 mentions that there's a birthday party that you will be, you're being transferred to the day shift. There's an investigation. Now, Phone Guy doesn't give you the details of the investigation, but he mentions that there is an investigation happening, and the police are shutting down the restaurant. However, you are still required to come to the birthday party because for some reason the birthday party's still happening, even though all the animatronics are acting a bit funny. And I don't know if any of you may have put 2 and 2 together by now, but 1987. This is the year of the bite. Now, this is lore. This is kind of theory territory again. The bite of 87 does happen at this birthday party. And it is extremely likely that the victim of the bite of 87 is Jeremy Fitzgerald, the night guard that is transferred to the day shift. So he's transferred to the day shift, and one of the animatronics takes a big old bite out of his frontal lobe, which is not a fatal injury. Many people can live without their frontal lobe. However, it does fundamentally change your personality because your frontal lobe is in charge of a lot of things. It's in charge of, like, your fear, your inhibition. You don't need your frontal lobe, but it's a very important part of your personality, and losing it would change you fundamentally. Now, as for the identity of our biter, it could be anyone. It could be anyone. Anyone could have done it. Anyone could have taken a big old bite out of Jeremy's face. You know? I think there's no way to know for certain. I think it was Mangle. I think Mangle did it. I think Mangle took a bite out of his fucking head. Anyway, So here are the toy animatronics. It was Cupcake. It could have also been Cupcake. Could have been anyone. It was Mangle. Could have been anyone. It was Mangle. So the toy animatronics are a... Is she gonna sue me? Like to see them try. The toy animatronics are a more high security version of the original animatronics. Their eyes are fitted with recognition for criminals. So after everything that happened at the first pizzeria, they are fitted with upgraded tech. Again, the security puppet is here, working to help people. However, she is also, please do remember, the security puppet is now possessed by the spirit of Charlie, Henry's daughter. As for these four, they are not possessed by anyone. The original four animatronics are, but these guys are not. These guys are just robots, and they have tech in their eyes that scans people's faces and recognizes if they're on any criminal databases. Obviously, given that William Afton is still present, and around, and heavily implied to be working on the day shift, yeah, it's no wonder that they didn't know. But the thing is, Phone Guy talks about how... I know, facial recognition, it's insane. Phone Guy talks about how the animatronics started acting very strange towards adults. They were fine with children, but they started acting very strangely towards adults. And it's implied that this is because their programming was being tampered with by William Afton undercover at the pizzeria. They didn't put a lot of money on it. That wasn't very good. No. So it's implied that perhaps someone was tampering with their recognition software in an effort to not be recognized. There's also there's an event that happens in one of the mini games that makes it appear as if there were more dead children. Not particularly missing children. You see the bodies inside the pizzeria. And you hear Mangle, you actually hear Mangle, playing a sound that is a police radio. What, this song? This song is Demolition Inevitable. From Sister Location. So yes, all four of these animatronics are able to contact the police, given their facial recognition. If they see anything happening, they can contact the police, and we go into a room with Mangle in a Sprite minigame, and Mangle is making these police radio noises. And it is, theorized that this is because it is contacting the police because it has seen dead children. But that's not entirely clear. We can't say for certain what's going on with that. But as far as Mangle's gender goes, Mangle sort of is everything and anything. So, dead children, yes. So, it's separate to the missing children incident. It's theorized that there were more children killed by William in an effort to understand some of the things that were happening with the first animatronics. Mangle bit the apple inside the Garden of Eden too. Yeah. So Mangle is sort of every gender, any gender, all of the pronouns. They'll take everything. And the reason Mangle looks like that is because, basically her development was kind of abandoned, and she became a pull apart and put back together toy for the violent toddlers that attended Fazbear's. But yeah, that's FNAF 2. Next up, we have 1993, and we know that it's 1993. I love having dates for things. Yippee! So, welcome to the FNAF 1 office. Welcome to FNAF 1. This is when FNAF 1 takes place. There is a book very recently released, an interactive novel called The Week Before, where you play as a security guard by the name of Ralph, going through his last week of working at... He does look a bit like he's pulling a rapper pose on that. He does look a little bit like that. I see it. But this is Ralph's last week on the job, and he's going through everything. There's a couple of interesting things in this book. It talks about the fact that Foxy is Phone Guy's favorite. Ralph is Phone Guy, because we see him recording his messages for the next security guard that comes along, who is Mike Schmidt. And, so he, gives us some more information. We learn a little bit more about the pizzeria. It is not functioning as a pizzeria right now. It is a location that is used for storage. There is a back room that contains some old suits, and obviously the 4 animatronics are around, and they need to keep an eye on. Isn't it just his last week in general? Well, that's the thing. Unfortunately for Ralph, it's his last week being alive, because we know that the canon ending of the week before is the ending where all of the animatronics get into the office and kill him. We know this from hearing audio of this event in FNAF 1. We hear this man die! What the fuck?! And you hear him sort of going through the motions of he's gotten the hang of keeping an eye on them, but they started behaving very strangely, and they don't behave how they normally behave, and they all get into the office and kill him. Play of the game. Unfortunately, yes. And then in comes Mike Schmidt! Good old Mike Schmidt. Step outside, bro. We ain't gonna eat you. Top 10 biggest lies ever told. So, Mike Schmidt is who we play as in the very first FNAF game. But it's actually the second FNAF game in the timeline. Don't worry about it! Don't worry about it! Don't worry about it. So, we're playing as Mike Schmidt. And we do our week. We do our 5 nights at Freddy's. Ooh. And we get paid $120. Thanks, Fazbear Entertainment. What a livable wage that is. $120 for a week. We love it. We love it. We love to see it. Now, Mike Schmidt is the name of the protagonist in the 5 Nights. $120 in 1993 is a lot of dollars. Did they get benefits at least? Do you want Freddy Fazbear to give you dental? Now, Foxy's the dentist, right? He's got that hook, so he can do, like, the scrapey thing on your teeth that the dentists do. So Foxy can, like, they did not have health care. Absolutely not. Good lord, no. But, Foxy he could probably get in your gums with the little, no? And no one? Okay, hello, Healthy, I love you. My son. Anyway. So, yes, FNAF 1, we do our week, and we live! Hooray! We lived! Yippee! Mike Schmidt, everybody. Now, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Mike Schmidt is the main character of the movie, the FNAF movie, but it's slightly different. In the games. Now, I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. Are you listening? Are you ready? You ready for this secret? Are you ready? Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for me to tell you this big secret? His name isn't Mike Schmidt. He lied on his resume. Mike Schmidt is an alias. He lied! His name isn't Mike Schmidt! So. Shush! Be! Shh! Children, calm down! Children, calm down! We will discover more about young Mike Schmidt in due time. We shall discover more about the true identity of our player character in due time. But let's move on. So, the mid to late 90s! What an eventful time for the Afton family. On here, as you can see, we have the whole Afton Afton family! From left to right, of course, we have Mr. William Afton himself. In the center, we have young Elizabeth Afton. And on the right, we have young Michael Afton. Now, the 90s were pretty busy for this family. So Elizabeth got scooped by Circus Baby. William told his daughter, he said, now, Elizabeth, don't get in a room alone with Circus Baby. And she said, but what if I did? And then Circus Baby said, yoink. Because Circus Baby was programmed to snatch children. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But, yeah. Anyway, speaking of scooping, Michael done got scooped too! Whoops! Basically, Michael was sent down into Circus Baby's pizzeria, Circus Baby, and he was mistaken. His identity was mistaken for that of another by Circus Baby, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy, and Ballora, who I'm just now realizing I did not make a slide for. Whoops. Anyway, it was kind of hard finding a place to put them anyway, so, they mistake him for a certain other man who he resembles, and they come up with a plan to kill him and use his body to escape Circus Babies. So he goes down there at the request of his father. William Afton says, Mikey boy, go down into the basement and help your sister. And then his sister, possessing Circus Baby, and all of the other Funtime animatronics down there unionize, and they lure Michael to the scooping room, where he then gets scooped. And the animatronics form this sort of hybrid mutant collective thing known as Ennard, which then crawls inside of Michael. And obviously, Elizabeth, at least. Yeah, so the Funtime animatronics were absolutely a product of William. Henry did not create the Funtime animatronics, William did, because William put into the Funtime animatronics specific features to kidnap children. In Funtime Foxy, there is a vocal lure that allows Foxy to mimic the voices of others. Funtime Freddy also has similar things. Ballora has distraction mechanics. Don't want to think about what those are. And Funtime Freddy, and also, he could have invented Wi-Fi and he pulled this, I know. He also, inside of Circus Baby and inside of Funtime Freddy, there are cavities large enough to hold a small child, a curled up child. Because he was still snatching children. The reasons for which we will talk about later. But yes, the animatronics made by William were made with the intent to kidnap children. They did not get a lot of mileage. They were never put to use properly. After the death of Elizabeth, he never really opened Circus Babies properly. But they were still available for rentals. But he sends Michael down, Michael gets scooped, and Ennard, the collection of the animatronics inside of him. Now, Elizabeth is a child, and children aren't known for making long-term plans, and as Michael's body starts to decay, eventually he throws up, he pukes up the machinery inside of him into the sewers. So Ennard gets kicked out, and Michael falls dead. However, Michael's body at least, now empty of all mechanical influence, lays on the ground for a couple seconds. And then he gets back up. He gets back up. Now let's remember, this man doesn't have any internal organs. He doesn't have anything inside of him, but he gets back up because his spirit is so hell-bent on finding his father and exacting revenge that he returns to his own withering body. The aliens were never winning. Is that a fucking War of the Worlds reference? So, he possesses his own body, basically. And in the speech, at the end of Sister Location, Michael says, "It's me, Michael. I should be dead, but I'm not. They thought I was you." And he sort of laughs. And he's like, "I'm going to come find you." And the way that he says he's going to come find William is very much with the tone of a man who wants revenge, who wants answers, who wants closure, who wants his shitty dad, who got him killed, to pay for what he's done. Okay, drive safe, possum. And, speaking of shitty dad, I wonder what William— Whoa! Yikes! What happened there? Jeepers creepers. So William didn't have a great time. Because at some point while all of this was happening with Michael, William goes back to the pizzeria and is dismantling the animatronics. He's dismantling them one by one. He's cutting them up, and the spirits are released. However, all of the spirits corner him. Kind of unclear when this happens. Yeah, it's unclear when this happens, but at some point, he is dismantling all of the robots, and he goes to the back rooms to pick up the golden bunny suit. But that is when the spirits jump him. All 5 dead children show up and confront him. And, you know, he's sort of looking around. He's panicking a little bit, because holy shit, ghosts. But William Afton is an egotistical and self-confident man. So, thinking that he's so powerful and so above these children, he climbs into the spring Bonnie suit. What he doesn't account for is that the years of neglect and the leak in the roof mean that the spring locks on the spring Bonnie suit are very, very loose. And he puts on the spring Bonnie suit. He laughs as if he's won over these children, thinking he's triumphed. And either a drip from the roof or just simply his movement inside the suit snaps the spring locks into his body. And the animatronic parts are forced into him. The spring locks digging into his flesh as he falls to the floor and bleeds out alone in the back room of Freddy Fazbear's. William Afton is dead. For now. Rip Bozo! Anyway, so everything is quiet until 2023. Now, in 2023, there is a amusement open. This happened last year, I know, right? So, a group of people decide to resurrect the old Freddy Fazbear's as kind of like a horror attraction. It's connected to a theme park. And it's set up as a horror attraction. It's Fazbear Frights. Oh, so scary, Fazbear Frights. Oh. And here's my first tangent. This game and the premise of this game gave rise to my favorite piece of non-canon, very, very silly fan content English Willy! This fucking Tumblr series, this series of posts on Tumblr, English Willy, is the funniest shit. It is hilarious, because it takes Fazbear Frights, and the fact that it's set in 2023, and it says, well, let's think about this properly. All of the Gen Zs and the millennials working at this place would be making fucking TikToks with this rotting, dirty-ass suit. They would be fucking around. They wouldn't take any of this shit seriously. And this post details a person working at Fazbear Frights. And there's a section of this post where someone's like, oh my god, that's a genuine spring lock Bonnie suit. And then there's someone like, oh, there might be a dead guy in there. And they play around with the fact that there's a dead guy in there. But my favorite part is this part. This part. The night guard did what? Excuse me? He hit him with his car? I don't know why. He refuses to elaborate. Whenever I open, he's clonking out, and they're having the most Tom and Jerry ass beef in the parking lot. It's on site. And you see, the reason for that is we don't exactly know for certain who we're playing as, but it is extremely likely that our player character in FNAF 3 is Michael Afton. So the fact that Michael Afton is beefing with his dead and rotting dad in the Springtrap suit is hilarious to me. And it retroactively makes the Springtrap jump scare make a lot more sense, because the Springtrap jump scare isn't really a jump scare. He sort of just steps forward and leans in, as if he's trying to recognize you. As if he's trying to get a closer look at your face. And I believe the reason he steps forward, and the reason that he steps forward to get a closer look at your face, is because you are Michael Afton, the boy who he thought he had sent to his death, and he is just as surprised as you are to see that you're alive. Bad eyesight. Well, yeah, also, he did have his eyeballs replaced by, like, animatronic eyeballs, so they're probably not working too good. Like, also, one more thing about this. That car is purple, and we know that William Afton had a purple car from when we saw him pull up to kill Charlie. So, I think the funniest possibility here is that Michael inherited this car, and that is William's car. So Michael is running William Afton over with his own fucking car. Just to add insult to injury, he's hitting him with his own car. And I think that's fucking hilarious. Anyway, we work our 5 nights at Freddy's. And at the end of our tenure, the place goes up in flames. In an attempt to destroy what remains in that building, including Springtrap, somebody, Michael, somebody sets the building on fire, Michael. Nah, it was faulty wiring. Now, that's what the official story says, that it was faulty wiring that set the whole place on fire. And it very may well have helped once the fire started. But, somebody wanted to try and get rid of their dad. And unfortunately, it didn't work. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Wrong, there's actually a typo on this slide. There's actually a typo on this slide. Sorry. Sorry. It's time. It's time. My boy! My boy! My boy! My boy! Help me! Oh, he ballin'! Help, he ballin'! Oh! Welcome to the franchise where we finally introduce the best character in all of these games. Helpy, my beloved. I have him with me. This little plush toy, this is the one that I have in my arms right now. I'm holding him to my chest. I am holding him so closely. My baby boy, Helpy. I love him. Words cannot express how deeply in love with this creature I have fallen. Previously, I was ambivalent. I didn't really care about Helpy. And it all started with the funky FNAF tunes to fill your empty head playlists. Because I watched those playlists several times, and they had this little fucker jamming out. Look at him go! Look at him go! Look at him dancing! Look at his little dancing! Look at his little dancing! So after sitting and watching him dance for 2 hours, I fell in love with him. I fell so madly in love with him. And he's my favorite. He's my favorite boy. Now, I need to draw attention to something. We're gonna talk about this again and later. But, one of these things is not like the other things. One of these things just doesn't belong. And it's this motherfucker! But we'll talk about that later. You know, we don't need to worry about that right now. Don't worry about it. We don't need to worry about that right now. So, welcome to Pizzeria Simulator. Welcome to Pizzeria Simulator. This is a racket. This is a real great time. Now, Pizzeria Simulator. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's, yeah, so, basically, you're running your own Freddy Fazbear's. You get to decide what you put in here, and, you know, you can buy whatever you want, and Helpy helps you test. So this is actually, Helpy is helping you test the various things that you can buy for the pizzeria. He'll even help you test the ball pit. Just make sure he lands in the ball pit. Please make sure he lands in the ball pit. Helpy helping? Exactly, that's his whole deal! That's his whole deal! Yeah, there is a mini game where he jumps into the ball pit, but if he misses, he fucking dies. So Helpy, my beloved, love of my life, king of my heart, is sitting right there. And Pizzeria Simulator. So you're buying everything for your own Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, you know, and you're salvaging animatronics. And, you know, there's some interesting characters that show up, like Scrap Baby, because, after the whole incident with Michael Afton and everyone being, like, you know, mixed together in a big old animatronic, they kind of voted Baby out. They said she didn't pass the vibe check, so they kicked her out of the polycule. She was evicted from the group chat. And so Baby comes back as Scrap Baby on her own, desperate to make her daddy proud. She got banned. She got absolutely booted out of there. Everyone else was like, nah, get out, you don't fit the fucking vibe. Whereas the others, the others in the group chat become, Molten Freddy, I believe, is the name of the amalgamation that they become. Again, Springtrap is also drawn to this location. Everyone's here, including a fun new animatronic called Lefty, which is kind of a black Freddy Fazbear. He looks a little weird, but, there's just something familiar. There's something familiar about those eyes. There's something familiar about those eyes. And that's because Helpy actually contains the puppet. The puppet is inside of Helpy. She's taken on a slightly new form as Helpy. And she too is Lefty. Not fuck, Helpy, love Helpy. Sorry, I'm just thinking about him because I love him so much. I mean Lefty. So the puppet has become Lefty. And the puppet is inside of Lefty. And she is, you know, moving around as Lefty. So Lefty comes, all of the old animatronics, you know, come back. Molten Freddy, Scrap Baby, Springtrap. Springtrap, yeah, the security puppet. The security puppet is inside Lefty. So Charlie is in there. Molten Freddy contains the children, all of the children from the original 4 animatronics. So when William Afton, yeah, Lefty was designed to contain the puppet. So the souls of the 5 missing children, got kind of mixed together into a weird soup, when William chopped them all up and, you know, smashed the original animatronics. So they're all kind of together inside of Molten Freddy, and they're just a bit of a mess, really. Because 5 souls possessing one thing is, you know, it's a little crowded in there. Scrap Baby, again, and Scrap Trap. So this is Springtrap, having survived the fire, reassembling himself with some other parts that he found in the garbage, because he is a fucking garbage man. Fuck off. But yeah. One way or another, Lefty, Molten Freddy, Scrap Baby, and Scrap Trap all come back to this pizzeria. Which is when the plan is revealed. Because the man that has been guiding you through all of the recovery of these animatronics, and the man that has been speaking to you the whole time through Pizzeria Simulator, was Henry Emily. And Henry Emily tells you that the plan was never for this to be a real Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. This job was not meant for you. However, dude, can you play the speech? It's so freaking good. I guess we can play the speech. Okay. Yeah, let's just listen to his speech, because it kills. It's such a good speech. Henry Emily speech. Okay, so we're going to listen to the speech that Henry says. We're also going to hear a little bit of Elizabeth at the beginning. So that's Elizabeth. Hi, Henry. What a fucking boss. What a boss. Henry Emily going out with the best speech ever. And it's, you know, when he says, this job not intended for you, but I think you're exactly where you want to be. It's because he is also surprised to see Michael Afton sitting in that security office. Because he assumed Michael was gone. He had hoped that Michael had gone and lived his life far away from his father, far away from everything he'd done. But Michael found the job, and Michael took the job, and Michael wants everything to end too. Henry and Michael both want this whole horrible, sordid history, the things that William Afton had done, and all of the sadness and all of the tragedy to burn. To finally end and burn. And, I think my favorite line, he absolutely kills it in that entire speech, but my favorite line, don't leave the devil waiting, old friend. Yeah. That's the end. You know? There it is. Henry's first and only appearance. And he kills it with a speech. You know? We set the whole place ablaze. Everything goes down in flames. And, yeah. There we go. The spirits finally released from their cage. William Afton sent to burn in hell where he belongs. And that's it. No, it's not! Oh my god! Oh my god, look at you guys! No, it's not! That's not the end! Oh my god, there's more! Obviously, there's more! Are you stupid? Oh my god! Can you believe this shit? Of course there's more! Haha, got him! Doesn't Henry appear in FNAF World? Kind of, but FNAF World's not canon. So, just kidding, guys! Just kidding, there's more! Also, speaking of the puppet... Ding dong, ding dong, it stopped short, never to go again on the day he died. Yay! Okay, so it's modern time, baby! This is where it gets silly, so I'm putting on the silly music. We're getting the silly music, because it's the silly parade. Okay. Buckle up, bitches. Let's fucking go. Welcome to Help Wanted. There he is. There's our little baby boy. There's my little baby boy. Okay, so... As for the modern side of the timeline, it's hard to tell when, what happens when, who the fuck, what's going on. But what we can say is that Help Wanted definitely had to happen first, because several things happen in Help Wanted that set up the rest of the timeline. So, welcome to Help Wanted. You are playing as a game designer, game tester, and Help Wanted is a game to combat the horrible and, you know, unfortunate negative press about the Freddy Fazbear's franchise. And after a terrible series of horror games made by a rogue indie developer, that's right, Scott Cawthon made himself canon to his own fucking games. After a terrible rogue indie developer spread a bunch of lies about the animatronics being scary through his scary games, Fazbear Entertainment want to kind of rectify that, you know? And here's the thing. Who the fuck is in charge of Fazbear Entertainment right now? 'Cause Henry's dead. And so's William. And Michael's dead. Elizabeth didn't inherit shit. She's dead. Charlie's dead. So, But, you know, B is in charge. God damn it, B. So, help wanted. You're game testing. There's speculation. I know Matt Pat's pet theory is that it's Mrs. Afton. But who can say for certain? Help me, my beloved. So, help wanted. You play through. You do all your funny mini games in VR. And there's some cassette tapes in this game. And you listen to the cassette tapes, and it's this voice of this woman. And she's sort of talking to you, and she's known as Tape Girl. And she's telling you about how the way that this game was found and given to them was very strange. They scanned a bunch of old circuit boards from the Fazbear's animatronics. Never a good start. And the game seemed glitched. She talks about how it feels like there's a presence inside of the game. Something insidious. And as you assemble all of the tapes, you realize that she is right. And there are a couple of other people that you get told about who have played this game. One of whom killed himself by chopping his face off with one of those guillotines. Like one of those paper guillotines. He cut his face off with it. Fucking yikes. And another young woman who, you know, has a couple of different jobs. But a young woman called Vanessa has also played this game. And when you assemble all of the tapes, you come across this guy. Feels like some kind of glitch. Trapped in the game. Oh, ugly! Yeah, so this is Glitch Trap. This is what we can only assume what the original Spring Bonnie suit looked like. And good lord, it's handmade, alright. That thing's terrifying. So it shows up, and it dances around, and then it possesses your body and locks you away and kind of takes over you. And the thing sorry, I love this song. Furries have come a long way. He does a funny little dance, and he locks you away in your own mind. And, yeah, he kind of possesses you. We'll talk a little bit more about what happens when you get possessed by a fucking weirdo rabbit a bit later. This song is penis music. Penis music. How dare you? Don't say that in front of Palm. She'll cry. Okay. Next up, our next big stars of everything. You know, our next big stars of the show are glam rock animatronics. Yippee! Hello! Hi, guys! Hi, guys! Glam rock animatronics. We love the glam rock animatronics. There's Glam Rock Chica and Fox, Roxy and Glam Rock Freddy and Glam Rock, Monty! Yippee! Monty! Yay! It's Monty! We love Monty! Yippee! It's Monty Gator! Everybody's favorite Monty on the roof! What will he do? Montgomery Gator! And, you know, he would never do anything bad. You know, he's just so proud of Roxy transitioning both her gender and her species. You're right, because Roxy is a wolf. Monty! Yeah, Monty is a member of the band. Because Bonnie gave him his guitar, just like you see on that ride. Anyway, so from 2030 to 2035, again, we're in a nebulous sort of time, but this is FNAF AR Special Delivery. And I just want you all to look at this fucking picture for a second and understand my pain. I just want you to look at everything that's on this screen right now. FNAF AR Special Delivery was an AR game on the phone on your phone. And it was kind of like FNAF Gacha, because they all had different fucking skins. You know, like 4th of July Freddy, glow-in-the-dark Foxy, pixelated circus baby, Dia de los Muertos Chica, Easter Bunny Springtrap. Tomo, could you fight them all at once? Jesus Christ. Fish endoskeleton, steampunk Freddy, Statue of Liberty Chica, Chinese New Year Mangle. Yeah, there was a lot going on. And the thing is about FNAF AR is that it doesn't really have a story, but it does tell us about Ness, or Nessa, short for Vanessa. Through a series of emails we get, we find out that she's a scene kid because she has rainbows dyed into her hair, and also that she's acting weird because she's Googling things like, help me. She's also Googling things like how to keep someone under control. Just really concerning Google searches happening from this young woman. And yeah, she's going to therapy. You know, she's going to therapy, which we hear about in these funny little CDs. Glitch Trap, I swear to God, get out of my internet. Oh, I swear to God, Glitch Trap, get out of my internet. Oh my God. 1 byte per student, please. No. No bite per student. No one is biting anybody. Good Lord. I look away for 5 seconds and you children are biting each other. Britney Spears. Ah, yeah, my favorite FNAF. Welcome back. Yippee! I'm back again, apparently. Chat has not caught up on OBS. But you know, I thought you shut the fuck up. I'm praying to God that my internet... So this is really weird, because my internet has not done this for, like, ages. Like, I have not had a stream drop out on me like this for... What? We're back! We're back, gamers! We are so back! We are so back! There we go. We got it. Woohoo! Okay. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Okay. So. We are so back. We are so ready. I am so ready to keep going. So we got to this, right? We got to this. Fucking ad break. God damn it, shut up. Now is not the time. OBS chat is broken, so I'm gonna pop out Twitch chat and just, like, put you guys over my OBS chat, because it's broken right now. Come on, computer. Don't fight me right now. I've got too much going on. Yippee! So, where did we get to? Where did we get to before we were rudely interrupted by fucking Glitch Trap eating my cables? Selfish bastard. Right. Okay. So, like I said, we're listening to people's therapy sessions on these little CDs. A little bit fucked up, but you know what? That's fine. We love therapy. Anyway, oh yes, there we go! Okay, OBS is fixed. So, Vanessa, we hear that she's going through some stuff in her therapy. She's acting a little bit weird. And she's buying material to make a suit. She's making a rabbit suit. Because Vanessa has the glitch trap in her brain. Exotic butters, oh my god. You brought exotic butters to class and you didn't share? But yeah, Vanessa has... Chase your furry dreams, Van. I know, right? Never mind. She's got glitch trap in her brain, and he's telling her to make a bunny suit and go kill children. Now, I find it a little bit funny that part of William Afton's programming is that you have to have the rabbit suit first before you do any murder. You know, the rabbit suit is an intrinsic part of the murder. So this is Vanessa over here. And eventually she gets transferred to the Mega Pizzaplex as a security guard. Now, over here we have an interesting young man, and we have an interesting book title. So, there is a Tales from the Pizzaplex story, And the Tales from the Pizzaplex are canon. So the Pizzaplex is open. It's in function. It's been functioning for a few years. And the Tales of the Pizzaplex are canon, I believe. My dream house. I know, right? I would love to go to the Mega Pizzaplex. Honestly, like, for real, I would love to go. It sounds fucking amazing in there. But there is a story in Tales from the Pizzaplex called GGY. And it is called GGY because there is a young boy named Tony. And Tony is... He goes to the Pizzaplex with his friends, Greg, and I can't remember what the other friend is. And they're all like budding writers. So he comes up with a pen name, and Greg comes up with the pen name Dr. Rabbit, and then his other friend comes up with a pen name. And they all like writing stories, and like Tony's really into mystery, and he's really into journalism. And Tony notices one day that the top score on all of the arcade cabinets is GGY. And he figures out that it's kind of weird that this top score is so high above anything anyone else has got. It's like thousands higher than like the second best score. And he works out that this GGY kid is getting in after hours and doing this. And he starts investigating, and he discovers that several of the school therapists have been going missing. Strange. On the therapy tapes, we hear several different therapists because the previous one goes missing. And there's about 4 different therapists we get through in the course of the CDs. So yeah, pretty high turnover rate for this job. And Tony finds a special pizza pass. He finds a special party pass that has been modified to function as a security badge, which lets people into the Pizzaplex after hours. And he discovers that the pass belongs to GGY, and he discovers that the pass has been used to bring in several other people whose names are the names of the therapists that have gone missing. So, bro, if you bring Lunchly into my class, you're getting expelled immediately. Don't bring that shit in here. He'll poison us all. So, Tony figures out that this GGY kid has been luring the school therapists to the Pizzaplex after hours, and presumably hacking into the Glamrock animatronics and using them to kill them. And, meanwhile, back at school, Tony writes a kind of a report about all of this, except he shows it to his friends, and Dr. Rabbit rewrites the entire thing and submits it before Tony can fix anything. And Tony gets really upset about this. He's like, why would you do that? And their friendship really suffers for this. So he decides, no, I'm not going to call you by your pen name anymore. I'm going to go back to calling you Greg. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but Greg is often short for Gregory. Gregory. And if your name was Gregory, one possible way that you could shorten it to put it on an arcade cabinet is GGY. So, Gregory, who takes on the pen name Dr. Rabbit, remember what rabbits mean in this franchise, is the one that interferes with Tony's investigation about the Pizzaplex. And the story ends with Tony and Greg says, hey, how about you meet me at the Pizzaplex tonight? I want to show you something cool, and me and my friends will make you feel better, because you've been pretty stressed out lately. So I want you to come meet my friends. Tony is fucking dead, guys. The story ends before anything else happens, but the implication is that Gregory leads Tony to the Pizzaplex to kill him, like he has with all of the school therapists, who got a little too close to figuring out that something was wrong with him, and that he had been breaking into the Pizzaplex after hours and hacking things. So, here's the part that we're not entirely sure on. From GGY, we can tell that Gregory is under the influence of Glitchtrap, the Glitchtrap virus. We don't know how he got infected with the Glitchtrap virus. We don't know why he was infected with the Glitchtrap virus. And we don't know how he got away from being infected with it by the time of Security Breach. By the time of Security Breach, Gregory is, for one reason or another, no longer under the influence of Glitchtrap. And neither is Glamrock Freddy, his favorite animatronic. And the running theory is Gregory was manipulating the code in the Glamrock animatronics to make them behave in strange ways. And he freed Freddy from this programming, basically, which led to the events of Security Breach, which I played on stream with my beloved horror girlies. We had such a fun time. It was very silly. We had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's a very silly game. It was so fun! Yes! So, and obviously, Security Breach is about Gregory getting caught after hours in the pizzeria, in the Pizzaplex, and trying to escape. But he's also kind of uncovering. Now I love it more because this lore. Yes! You understand now! You understand everything that was happening! So, Gregory is finding out more about what is actually going on at the Pizzaplex. And Gregory knows that Vanessa is under the influence of Glitchtrap. Making her into Vanny, the rabbit that chased us around. And he knows that the other animatronics are programmed to take him out. They do not want him there because they know he is no longer under the influence. And throughout the game, you go through, you destroy the Glamrock animatronics, and you go into the basement and discover the burned remains. Hear me out, right? You ready for this one? In the basement of the Pizzaplex, underneath the Pizzaplex in a sinkhole, is the burnt, charred remains of the pizzeria that Michael Afton and Henry had made. It's the pizzeria from Pizzeria Simulator. So that building that was burned down with all of the robots in it, and Henry and Michael and Springtrap, that whole thing burned down, and the Pizzaplex was just built on top of it. Because that's a normal thing to do. Thanks, Fazbear Entertainment. Yippee! Now, also, hi, welcome to the dojo! You got a lot of catch up, right. So, here's the other thing, right? Security Breach introduces my second favorite character. OSHA regulations have been broken. My second favorite character is, in fact, a DJ Music Man! Look at him! He's eeping! He's a little guy! A Music Man! It's all scribbles because I'm a dog. Look at him! Look at his little piano teeth! Okay, hang on. I love this music so much, but because we're talking about my beloved DJ Music Man, we need to listen to his music. So, let me just explain for the class why I love DJ Music Man. So, DJ Music Man has the capability to create custom music. Okay? So he makes up his own beats, because he's a DJ. And this music that you are listening to right now is diegetic, which means this music happened in the canon of the game. So when you're playing the game and you're hearing this music, Gregory is hearing this music. Because DJ Music Man is chasing you. But he's not just chasing you. He's chasing you and he's making his own beats to chase you with. Not only is he pursuing you through the arcade, he's chasing you and blasting this shit out of the speakers. He custom builds this fire track. And every time you flip a switch, the stakes get higher. And he adds another layer to the music. As you're running around the arcade, desperately trying to find the generators. You're going back and forth, you're dodging Monty, you're dodging Chica, you're dodging DJ Music Man. You're trying so hard not to get caught. You are running for your life. You are ducking between arcade cabinets. You are looking for every single switch. And the whole time, this guy is following you. And he's playing this music. And he knows what you're doing. And he knows where you're going. And he knows that eventually you're going to be cornered. So he just waits. You know, he's crawling around and he's watching you and he's waiting for his chance. Because you go through the arcade and you're dodging through and you're getting all the fuse boxes. And, you know, you get to the security office, you're like, okay, alright. And then you have to leave the security office again and you're like, where's that last fuse box? And there's a hallway nearby to the security office that you have to go down. And you start going down this hallway, and it is very crowded in this hallway. And you get all the way to the end, and you flip that final switch. And then he appears. And you have to haul ass down that hallway as DJ Music Man chases you. He is right behind you. Everything is collapsing. The arcade cabinets are falling. The shelves are falling. Gregory, you are running for your life. You cannot jump. You have to dodge around all of the arcade cabinets. You have to weave through this mess of a corridor. And that's over. That's over. But it's not quite over. Because once you're done, and you go back into the security office and you do everything that you needed to do, you go over to DJ Music Man's stage, and instead of sleeping, this fucker's jamming out. He's blasting his new beats that he just made to chase you with. Anyway. So that's why I love DJ Music Man. No one goes for the Faz beef. God. Okay, so there's a lot going on this slide. I'll admit. There's a lot happening here. The Mimic! The Mimic! I did this to Maple so many times, she was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, don't worry about it. The Mimic! So, The Mimic. This is Help Wanted 2. And in Help Wanted 2, we are playing as a Fazbear technician. And the running theory that Fazbear technician is actually this young girl's dad. And I'll explain more about that in a second. But I feel like we need to address the elephant in the room. This little bastard who guides you through FNAF Ruin, that's not my helpy. This isn't my helpy. This isn't my boy. This isn't my good, beautiful boy. This is an imposter. This is the Mimic program. This is Helpy, spelt with an I. And this is the Mimic program. Now there are two parts here. There's the physical Mimic, and there is the Mimic program. Help I, yeah. So, the Mimic program also known as the glitch trap virus, is what has been, pushing everyone to behave in the way that emulates William Afton. Because William Afton is dead. And his spirit is in hell. Glitch trap is not William Afton. Glitch trap is a fabrication of a software that has observed him, that has seen his actions, and is trying to replicate them. So the Mimic program and Glitch Trap are one and the same. And in FNAF Ruin, we meet the Mimic! But also the Mimic program. The Mimic program is trying to lead us towards the actual Mimic, so we free him. And we play as this girl here, Cassie. But just before Ruin happens, Help Wanted 2 happens. And we play as Cassie's dad, as a Fazbear technician, and... Togo's just dying. I know, right? So, what happens to Cassie's dad is you go through, and there is a special version of Princess Quest, which is a series of games that has been telling us lore throughout the series. And in that, you find a Bonnie mask. Now, Cassie tells us in Ruin, every time she picks up a bit of Bonnie merch, that Bonnie was her dad's favorite. And you find a Bonnie mask. Now, I hate to have to go all the way back through the PowerPoint, but... we find a Bonnie mask! We find a Bonnie mask in a chest. And we get a little bit of dialogue when we pick up that Bonnie mask that tells us that the mask feels familiar. Because it's heavily implied that Cassie's dad is this young man right here. He is the Bonnie bro, one of the 4 bullies who witnessed the death of the crying child. And we'll talk a little bit more about the crying child's name and how I think Bonnie bro and Cassie play into that. Anyway. Yippee! Helpy. Anyway. Here we go. Okay, so. The canon ending of Help Wanted, unfortunately, is that Cassie's dad ends up becoming this staff bot and handing over this Vanny mask to Cassie at the start of Ruin. So, at the start of the game Ruin, when Cassie first enters the ruined Pizzaplex and finds this information bot, it hands her the Vanny mask, which allows her to connect to the AR system of the Pizzaplex. And it is heavily implied, through the ending of Help Wanted 2, that that robot is her dad. Yikes! So Cassie goes through FNAF Ruin. She goes all the way to the basement, believing that Gregory is waiting for there and he's trapped, when it's actually the Mimic. The Mimic was luring her down there so it could be freed. And unfortunately, she does free the Mimic. And her fate is unknown, because she gets in an elevator and she's trying to escape, but we hear Gregory's voice telling us about the Mimic, and just before we get to the surface and we're safe, Gregory, or at least Gregory's voice, tells us that they can't risk being followed and that he's sorry, before the elevator cuts and drops. And we hear Cassie scream, and that's the end of the game. Now, whether or not that was actual Gregory, or the Mimic speaking with Gregory's voice again, we're not sure. But what we are sure of is that Roxy finds Cassie after the elevator drops. Because we hear her, just after the credits play, we hear Roxy very quietly just go, "Cassie?" So, we're not entirely sure what's happened to her. But at least she's got her bestie Roxy with her. And, yeah. That's kind of it, really. That's as far as we've got in the timeline. So where we're sitting right now is we've got the Mimic program. We don't know what's happened to Cassie. We know that Gregory is out of the Pizzaplex and hanging out with, presumably, Vanessa. And possibly even Glamrock Freddy. Because he's not present in Ruin. So, you know. Glamrock Freddy, Vanessa, and Gregory are all chilling somewhere else. They developed the Mixes program, which is like a glitchy blue rabbit to kind of protect the Mimic so the Mimic wouldn't get out, but then the Mimic got out. And we don't know what's happening to Cassie. And we don't know what's going to happen next with the Mimic. So. But why? There's a lot of really weird shit that's happened in this series. This franchise has had a lot going on. And one of the biggest questions is, why did anyone do any of the things that they did? Money. Okay, thank you for coming. This is the end of the stream. No, I'm kidding. It's certainly not. So, these two things right here are what, at least in my opinion, we can say are William Afton's driving forces. Whoa, shiny! I know! So, this here is a substance called Remnant, and this over here is a substance called Agony. Now, Remnant and Agony are where the series gets a little bit more supernatural. And, you know, ghosts and shit. We know that World of Remnant, yeah, so when William Afton killed Charlie, her remnant, her soul, her spirit, went into the puppet. Well, yeah, the ghost children harassing him was also pretty supernatural. But this is why. And all of the other children, we're not going to talk about Fazgoo. We don't need to talk about Fazgoo. Don't worry about the Fazgoo. So, Remnant is kind of like the life force of things, whereas Agony is all of the negative feelings and all of the negative things. Agony is a representation of the trauma that has occurred. So, for example, in Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit, the game that I started playing on Tuesday with the lovely Mothy B, that Spring Bonnie is not actually William Afton. It's a collection of two things. So it is a character called Eleanor, who is kind of complicated to explain. But she's a bit like Circus Baby, but she's a bit more like shapeshifty. And the agony that was caused by the missing children's incident. So that agony created the monster that chases you and into the pit. Agony does this several times. Agony creates monsters such as the 16-foot fucking trash rabbit known as the Agony. In the books, there is a 16 feet tall amalgamation of all of the animatronics and just a bunch of trash that forms itself into the visage of Spring Bonnie, but with William Afton's face, apparently. It's very weird to think about, and like I said, the books, and Remnant and Agony were mostly talked about in the books, so we can't say for certain that they play a part in the actual game, but it's very likely that they do, because there are several things in the books that, you know, hint towards, things in the game. And also, we do know that Remnant is a thing in the game, because on some of the blueprints for the scooper that William Afton created, there is a part of it that's labeled as like a remnant collector. So, you know, we know that he's aware of it as a substance. And the running theory is that William Afton noticed at some point after his killings that the robots began acting strangely. So he replicated it. And he replicated it again. And he replicated it again. Because he was trying to prove to himself that this was a thing. And he did sufficiently prove to himself that it was a thing by the first five missing children. I'll say the first 4 missing children. The fifth one, there's some asterisks going on with Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is a little bit complicated. And it seems as though William Afton became sort of obsessed with this idea of controlling life and death, and his own children, having died, you know, he perhaps wanted to bring them back. Because the golden Fredbear plush that Crying Child carried around is actually a way for William to speak to his son and manipulate his son from a distance. And that golden Fredbear plush is the one that tells a dying Crying Child, I will put you back together. And what that means is William wanted to find a way to bring his son back to life. And once he figured out what was going on with the ghost kids, he probably saw this as his opportunity. We can't say anything for certain, but that's the most likely reason. But he's a bad man. You know, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day what his reasons were. He's a fucking dick. So, let's talk about some common theories. Let's talk about some big questions that we have in the community of FNAF. Now, this is where I raise my hand and say, I try not to interact with the fandom very much. Sorry. No offense. I'm just not really big on fandoms, and I think there's a lot of arguing that goes on with what people believe and what people think is canon and what people have decided is fanon. For example, there's an image of a Golden Freddy child with the name Cassidy, who has little pigtails with little pom-pom balls that everyone loves. Everyone loves her. And they love her to the point where she appears so frequently. And you would very easily mistake her for being a canon with the way that people draw her and the way that people put so much things on her. But she's not canon. That Cassidy is a fanon creation. So, speaking of Cassidy, the survival logbook. We discovered the name Cassidy in the survival logbook by solving some of the hints that it gave us. And there's another puzzle inside the Foxy grid that no one has solved yet. And there have been so many solutions put forward, and none of them really feel, you know, satisfying, I suppose. Like, all of them seem as convoluted as each other. Mr. Hippo has a lot to say. What the fuck is he talking about? Because he's talking a lot. What the fuck is he talking about? There's also the question of, who did this? Who did this? Who killed this man? Who killed Bonnie? I think you actually skipped Ultimate Custom Night. So I did. Basically, Ultimate Custom Night is William Afton's personal hell. He's in hell forever, and he has to keep reliving playing the game FNAF over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah, it's not really part of the timeline, but Mr. Hippo is there. He's in hell forever. And this vengeful spirit is something we see in Ultimate Custom Night, And I agree with certain theories about that. And who the fuck is the crying child? What's the crying child's name? So here's the ones that I agree with. Here's the theories that I enjoy. He did this. He did this. Monty did this. Monty killed Bonnie. Monty definitely killed Bonnie. Monty absolutely fucking murdered Bonnie. We all know this. Also, a duck. Mr. Hippo is just talking about ducks. Mr. Hippo is not giving us any lore information. He is just talking about ducks. And he also gives us the very important piece of advice. Do not feed ducks sourdough bread. It's bad for them. They will die. What did Monty do? Monty killed Bonnie. Look at this shit. Look at that. He fucked this man up. Monty's an asshole. A lot of the things that dual process theory worked out about Golden Freddy and things, and the Vengeful Spirit, I agree with. So, I agree with their theory that Cassidy Afton is the name of the crying child. Maybe. So I agree with the theory that Cassidy Afton is the name of the crying child. And the reason I agree with them is because a lot of people keep forgetting that the crying child is speaking to whoever in the logbook by changing text. Altered text is, people assume, the crying child. So if we find the name in altered text, why would it be anyone other than the crying child? The question was, what's your name? And the altered text tells us Cassidy. It makes sense to me. It just makes the most sense to me. And Cassidy can be a boy's name. And I also like the idea that perhaps Bonnie Bro, who was involved in the death of Crying Child, out of guilt and, wanting to try and make, a tribute to the child that he had a part in the death of, would name his own child Cassie, sort of, in honor of, the Afton kid, maybe? Maybe? Let's see what else is on here. Jackie. Very recent theory from Tom over at Game Theory that the third paper plate pal is actually a representation of Jackie, who is the newest character that we've been introduced at PAX. She's gonna appear more in Secrets of the Mimic. And we're gonna learn more about her. But I do really like the idea that this paper plate pal is representing her. Because it makes sense, it's got the red arms and the blue legs. The Clussy. Yep. I think it's an interesting theory. We don't know who else this paper plate pal could be, and I do agree that, maybe. Fucking maybe. And here's the one that goes out on the furthest limb. That William Afton is the faded text spirit in the security logbook. Because someone solved the Foxy grid in a way that gave them the phrase, "My name is Springtrap," which was the thing that was used to advertise FNAF 3. And I agree that some of the questions that are being asked do imply that this faded text spirit is familiar with the Crying Child's family. Because was your favorite childhood toy a plastic purple telephone? That's oddly specific. Does he still talk to you? He being the plush toy that he gave to his son that he talked to his son through. I kind of like the idea that the security logbook is a way for the whole Afton family to communicate with each other. What a silly, goofy time. I just really like that theory. And, all of the other ways of solving the Foxy grid to get Evan, or to get fucking Dave! Can we have a fucking moment? Please. Can we have a moment to just... Dave? Fucking Dave? Dave Afton? No. Fucking no. I hate it. I hate it so much. And the way that they got the name Dave was just as convoluted as they got the name Evan. Okay? And the way that they got my name is Springtrap is just as convoluted as all the other ways. But that's fine, okay? I think the Foxy grid is a fucking mystery and it's a pain in the ass, but I like the idea that all of the Aftons were talking to each other through this ghost book. It would make a nice little story thematically. You know, who fucking cares? Anyway, here's some of my thoughts to round things out, okay? William is bad. William is a fucking asshole, and I hate him. Michael is a very stinky boy. He keeps getting fired because he smells bad, because he is a stinky, stinky boy. Fucking rip. Fucking rip crying child. Whoever the hell he is. Rip, kid. Fuck William! Henry is the MVP. We love him. Most badass speech in all of video game history. That man took the W and ran with it. He cooked. He cooked so hard that he cooked the entire pizzeria. He cooked so hard he burnt the building down. Henry! Ah! Oh, speaking of screaming Henry, did you guys know that in Ultimate Custom Night, when you go to talk to Old Man Consequences, in the background, there's audio of a voice screaming Henry and Michael, and it's implied that it's William screaming for help from Henry and Michael, because Michael is the vengeful spirit in the dual process theory, and I agree that that would make a lot of sense, because Michael's pretty vengeful. Michael's kind of pissed. So it would make sense that he's the vengeful spirit. And maybe, hang on, let's go back a bit. Maybe this image, maybe this face right here isn't Michael's face. It isn't the face of the vengeful spirit. It's the face of the crying child that Michael is like, haha, look at your son that you caused the death of. Like, you know, it's kind of like a, haha, look at this shit. Fuck you. Anyway. But who knows? Who can say? I like that theory, personally. But that's just a theory. That was just a theory. But I like that theory. But the him yelling about Henry and Michael, is a real thing. And another part on that theory is possibly Old Man Consequences representing Henry speaking to the vengeful spirit, which was in this theory, Michael. Henry telling Michael to like, listen, dude, we've done everything we can. Just let him fucking rot. You need to rest too. Just leave the demon to his demons. But, you know, Michael partially blames himself. You know, Michael blames himself for what happened to the crying child. He was the one who put him in the Fredbear mouth. You know, he blames himself for that child's death. And I think it fits, and it makes a lot of sense that he would, you know, possibly torment himself as well by remaining in that hell that he's put his dad in. And some of the lines that you get from the animatronics when they kill you allude to that. They allude to the, who is trapped here? Is it me or is it you? Perhaps it's us both. There are a few other lines that have like an echoey child voice on them. That some people are like, those are specifically the vengeful spirit. But, I think a lot of the lines relate to... Okay, this is also my personal theory, that all of the dialogue that you hear in Ultimate Custom Night is from Michael's headcanons about these characters. So everything they're saying is what Michael thinks that they would say. Okay? So... It's his idea of the characters, basically. And that's why Foxy has the coolest lines. That's why Foxy's lines are the coolest. Because he loved Foxy. Foxy was his favorite. So he gives Foxy all the badass pirate lines. And especially Funtime Foxy, like, about, like, oh, it's time for the show and all that stuff. You know, I like that theory. That's one of my own theories. That just, like, it's his POV of, like, what the characters behave like. And what he thinks they would say to him. And, like, basically just mocking his dad, but through these characters that he loves. But, also, touching on Foxy. then it also, yeah, it is also very funny that Mr. Hippo starts talking, but I also really like the idea that, like, when he was working at the pizzeria simulator, and he was, like, he met the mediocre melodies, and he like, at some point, he's just like, what is these guys' deal? And, like, he sits down and listens to Mr. Hippo yapping, and he's like, oh, Dad would hate this. Dad would hate this. Dad would fucking hate this. So then, when Mr. Hippo kills you in Ultimate Custom Night, Michael goes, time to yapping. But also, that leads into my theory about, I feel like we do not see a lot of Foxy in the series because William Afton grew to dislike and grew to resent Foxy because Foxy was the mask that Michael Afton used. So Foxy was the character that Michael Afton loved the most, and it was the character that he used to torment his little brother, and it was the mask that he was wearing when his little brother died. So I like to think that perhaps that led William to really spitefully be like, oh, Foxy's your favorite character? Well, fuck Foxy. Foxy doesn't get shit. But yeah. Carrying on from that, helpy, 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 helpy. Then wouldn't that make Michael maybe have some trauma with Foxy? Yes, but Foxy's still his favorite. So I think he draws in the security logbook, he draws Foxy in the FNAF 3 office. Because I think he's still sort of, he really likes Foxy and, like, kind of relates to him as, like, a comfort character sort of thing. Even though, he's got those feelings of guilt associated. But helpy, the Mimic, and obviously there's the program versus the physical Mimic. We talked a little bit about that. Anyway, thank you for watching the slideshow. But we're not done yet, because now it's time for the test! A test of your memories! So, have you guys in chat heard of a little thing called Kahoot? A funny little website called Kahoot? Because today we are going to be doing a Kahoot about everything that we just learned about FNAF. Now, don't worry, I didn't make the questions too hard. I tried to make the questions pretty straightforward. And obviously they're multiple choice. So, there's always that. Okay, let me just open it up right here. There we go, my FNAF lore test. Host live, here we go. Okay, so, everybody get ready for Kahoot. We're gonna start. Okay, get ready to join. Professor, how much percentage is this? This is 100% of your grade. So this is 100% of your grade. If you fail this, you're fucked. I'm gonna pause my funky FNAF music as well, so that we can listen to Kahoot. Hell yeah. So, open up kahoot.it. And, yeah, get on in here. Get on in here. Moth GGY. Ah! Get on in here. Come on. Hop in, everybody. Join in. Wait, can I change? Is there a Kahoot category? Oh my god, there's a Kahoot category. Fuck yes. So yeah, you can customize your little character. You can change your little character. Settings. I'm gonna have it so it will show the questions and answers on your thing as well, just in case, there's a bit of lag or anything. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna leave this open for a couple more minutes. Everybody, get on into the Kahoot. You know, you better customize your little guy. Customize your little guy however you want. Get on in the Kahoot. You know, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. You know, and then we'll get started. And, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Where is the Tanuki? There's not one! Tanma is a raccoon, it appears. It appears Tanma is a raccoon. Let's give the question shown on screen. Yes, so that the lag doesn't, like, screw you over. I'm Foxy! Oh my god! Foxy real! I love that Pom has the pompadour, obviously. There's also no red panda. Yeah, it's really sad. It's real sad. It's really annoying. There's no red panda. Okay. Alright. Mamizo Gaming. Hell yeah! Let's fucking go. Okay, right. So, is everybody ready? All aboard who's coming aboard. All aboard who's coming aboard. Final call for everyone. Okay, we're starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, welcome to the FNAF lore test! Yippee! So welcome to Tomo's FNAF lore test. Were you paying attention to the PowerPoint? Let's see! Question number 1. What year did the first FNAF game get released? Was it first released in 2014? Was it 2020, 2019, or 2010? Look at that Freddy Fazbear. He looks high as hell. Congrats! Yes! Okay, well done, everyone. It was 2014 when the first FNAF game came out. It has been 10 years since then. We had the 10-year anniversary last month. It was a lovely time. Who put 2010? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Ooh, Tanma was the quickest answer. Ooh. Let's see. Question number 2. Who are the partners that founded Fazbear's? Was it Joey Drew and Henry Stein, Elliot Lugwood and Harley Sawyer, William Afton and Henry Emily, or Jeremy Fitzgerald and Bonnie Glade? Yes! Well done, everyone! William Afton and Henry Emily! Good job, guys! Fun fact for anyone else just around, these 3 sets of other answers are actually references to things. So, Joey Drew and Henry Stein is Bendy. Jeremy Fitzgerald and Bonnie Glade is, frickin' Popgoes. And Elliot Lugwig and Harley Sawyer are from Poppy Playtime. Yes. Elliot Lugwig founded the company. Harley Sawyer is the name of the doctor. Anyway. Oh, ooh, some upset on the board. Okay. Okay. We love to see it. What's the first year in the timeline? Where did the timeline start? There's a hint. Secret of the Mimic. What was our first year in the timeline? Yes, it was the 1970s. Yes. So, remember, Fall Fest 1970. That's the big one. And the 1970s is also when Secrets of the Mimic is going to take place. So that's going to be a fun time. Ooh, Palm, you're on an answer streak! Look at you! Look at you go! Yes! Okay, true or false? Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria was the first location. Look at that, that's from the movie. I was surprised how many of the movie gifs were, like, on here. It is false. It was not. Can anyone in chat tell me what the first location was called? Does anyone want to put their hand up and tell me? Anyone want to let me know what the first location was called for a little bonus point? Anyone? No volunteers? It was, Fredbear's Family Diner. Fredbear's Family Diner, there we go. Thank you, Tanma. Good job. Fredbear's Diner, yep, congratulations. Yep, thank you very much. Ooh, Kazooie, look, you're going up. Right, next question. Whose mouth was the crying child put into? What the fuck? Oh, shit, I didn't change these answers. Sorry. Pick number 4. Pick number 4! Yes, okay, so I kind of fucked up this question, because I was originally going to ask. So originally the question was meant to be how many bullies were there? But I then changed what the question was, but I didn't change the answers. So that one's on me. Whoops. But, to be fair, if we look at this picture, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Freddy, so number 1 would be Bonnie, number 2 would be Chica, number 3 would be Foxy, number 4 would be Freddy. He was put into the mouth of Freddy. Therefore, it still works. Leave me alone. Nice save. Thanks. Yeah. Nice save. Thank you. Sweating. Who was the first missing child? Cassidy, Gabriel, Susie, or Fritz? Who was the first? Who has seen everything? Because they won't stop fucking telling us they were the first and they've seen everything. Oh, last answer's in. Come on, you're gonna run out of time. It was Susie! Yes! Well done, everybody. Now remember. First missing child. So, Cassidy, we said, was possibly the name of the crying child. But, he was not missing. We know where he is. He's in Fredbear's mouth. Sorry, that was mean. Sorry. That was real mean. Anyway. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a prequel. True or false? There's our toy animatronics right there. I couldn't find a picture that had Mangle on it as well. True! Five Nights at Freddy's 2 came before Five Nights at Freddy's, as far as the games are concerned. So yeah, technically it's a prequel. Aww. Yippee! Who is our player character in Five Nights at Freddy's? Is it Jeremy Fitzgerald, Mike Schmidt, Michael Afton, or William Afton? Also, there he is. There's my boy. He's offering you a security gig. I love him. I'm so normal about him. I'm so normal. So yeah, there's actually 2 correct answers. It was a bit of a tricky question, but we do in fact play as Mike Schmidt, which is the alias of Michael Afton. Yeah, so whoever put Michael Afton, I see you. Good remembering. But, yeah, Mike Schmidt is the name he goes by, but it is Michael Afton. Palm, was that you? I'm actually impressed, though. Because that actually shows me that you were paying attention to the lore. That shows me you were paying attention to the lore. I'm very proud of that. Good job. I'm very proud of you. You did a very good job. You're paying attention to the lore. Yeah? Well, stop. What happened to Elizabeth Afton? Snatched by Circus Baby, bitten by Freddy, killed by William, or trapped in a fire? Yeah, this was my GIF, because I couldn't find a good GIF, and I just thought it'd be funny to get MatPat in here. Who put trapped in a fire? You're thinking of the wrong ginger-haired girl. You're thinking of the wrong ginger-haired pigtail little girl. Poor Charlie. Poor Charlie. This ain't about her, but poor Charlie. Technically, yeah, but that isn't how she died as Elizabeth. That's how she died as Baby. Elizabeth Afton, the little girl, was snatched by Circus Baby, and then she became Circus Baby, so there you go. Let's go! Next question! Everyone's doing so good. I'm so proud of you guys. What happened to Michael Afton? Stuffed into a Freddy suit, scooped at Circus Babies, hooked by Foxy, or electrocuted by Bonnie's guitar. There he is. There's Mike. There's Mike from the movie, anyway. He's coming out of a vent. Popping out of a vent like Foxy. Okay! Alright. So, I see we're split half and half here. Class. That is an interesting one. So, Michael Afton was scooped at Circus Babies. However, if you die in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, you get stuffed into a Fazbear suit. So there is an alternate continuity in which Michael got stuffed into a Freddy suit. But that's not the canon because he still existed to then carry on and do all of the other things that he did. Professor Half Point Plus. I'm sorry Kahoot doesn't do half points. I'm so sorry, but I see you. You know, I see you, and it was a bit of a trick question. I'll admit, it was a bit of a tricky one. It was a bit of oh, the upset! Oh, the upset. Oh. What caused William Afton to get spring-locked in the games, not in the movie? Did he move too quickly? Was he bitten by Cupcake? He was cornered by the spirits and a puddle? Or he set it off intentionally? One of these is what happens in the movie. Yes! He was cornered by spirits and he stepped in a puddle. My soul votes for the Cupcake. So in the movie, he dies because the Cupcake bites him and then sets off the spring locks. Just because it's a dog, right? But he fucking steps in a puddle, and also the spirits corner him, and yeah. He sets it off intentionally. He definitely did not mean to die. The fact that he came, so, in the movie, he does put on the Springtrap head, and goes, I always come back, because he's implying that he knows that he's gonna come back as possessing the robot. Not entirely sure. In the game, obviously, like I said, he's repeating murders to test the whole ghost possessing robots thing. So, possibly, he anticipated he would come back in the Springtrap suit. He would come back as Springtrap. But, who's to say for certain? He definitely did not die on purpose, though. At least, it doesn't seem like he died on purpose, given how shocked and painful a death it is to get spring-locked. Good job, everybody. What is the name of the parody series of Tumblr posts that I fucking love? My manager's making TikToks of them. What is the name of the Tumblr series posts that I fucking adore? This is compulsory information. English Willy! Good job, everybody! Good job. Maybe we should read through the English Willy saga after this. I see what you did. Yeah? Dave and Steve. Yeah! Yeah. I'm playing around. I'm playing. I couldn't come up with a third one, so I just put content warning. Who is Tomo's favorite character? Helpy, Puppet, Ness the Waiter, or There was no hesitation. There was no hesitation. That was so fast. None of you even waited. I'm crying because I'm in love. Yes. Helpy is my favorite. Also, yeah, I put Ness the Waiter on there because Matt Pat. That was fucking hilarious. That was very funny. Okay. Who orchestrates the fire in Pizzeria Simulator? Michael Afton, Henry Emily, Elizabeth Afton, or Charlie Emily? It is Henry! Good job! So, as a recap for those of you who put the wrong answer, Michael did not orchestrate the fire. He just happened to stumble across the job and stay put in the fire because, you know, he was part of bringing an end to the Fazbear's series. Elizabeth Afton, at the beginning of the speech, she does say that, you know, she tries to make it out like this was her plan. And she tries to be like, oh yeah, we did this on purpose, and now I'm gonna make Daddy proud. And yeah, that's technically Elizabeth Afton, but like Henry says, I'm not sure she remembers that name. But yes, it was Henry who started the fire. And he does tell you, you know, there was a way out planned for you, but I think you're exactly where you want to be. Let's keep going. Combo breaker. Ooh. Hate to see that. Sounds kind of familiar. Huh? What do you mean? The end? Well done, everybody! It is not the end! Well done, everyone! What do you mean sounds kind of familiar, Possum? What do you mean sounds kind of familiar? Sweating. What do you mean sounds kind of familiar? No, wait, actually, no, what do you mean, though? Actually... I'm actually panicking now, because I'm like, wait, what do you mean? He doesn't really talk to Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte does set the fire. Charlie was a bit of a daddy's girl, true. But then she got betrayed, and that kind of really set off a whole... Yeah, she really... Things happened for her. God bless her. Anyway, next! Not FNAF Charlie, my Charlie. Which game comes next? Help Wanted, Special Delivery, Security Breach, or Freddy in Space? Again, I ran out of relevant gifts, so have Matthew Lillard. I think this is from a D&D podcast. He's a fucking nerd. It is Help Wanted. Well remembered, everyone. AR Special Delivery comes just after Help Wanted. Bit of a tricky one, but yeah, good job, guys. Helpy Wanted. Helpy is always wanted in this house. In this house, we always are wanting the Helpy. Oh shoot, that's right, Helpy! Yeah! And he even teaches you how to play the games. It's so good of him. Who is Dr. Rabbit? Tony, Oswald, Vanessa, or Gregory? A toothpaste mascot. No! This was in the story GGY. We had one for everyone. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So, I'll remind everyone. Dr. Rabbit was the pen name chosen by Tony's friend, Greg. So, Tony was our protagonist in GGY, who was investigating the Pizzaplex. Oswald is the name... It literally said GGY. Yeah, there was a hint on the screen. Oswald is the name of the protagonist in Into the Pit. Vanessa is in the process of becoming Vanny at this point, but she is not Dr. Rabbit. Gregory is the one who selects Dr. Rabbit as his pen name. Yeah, good job, everybody. Got it backwards? No, that's okay. That's okay. Who helps Gregory through the Mega Pizzaplex? Look at these guys. Is it VIP? Is it Roxy? Is it Freddy? Or is it Cassie? Look at these little guys. It is Freddy! It is Glamrock Freddy. It is not Roxy. Roxy helps Cassie, but not Gregory. She hates Gregory. She fucking hates Gregory. He's got my fastballs. I was in the hall when we were going over this. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But, yeah, Roxy fucking hates Gregory. She hates his ass. She hates him so much. I couldn't read Palm's notes. Yeah, you must have got confused because there was paw prints, so you thought it was Roxy, but actually the paw prints were just Palm. Because, yeah. Anyway. Next. I'm gonna ignore what's happening in chat right now. Who is the newest antagonist? Burn Trap, Glitch Trap, Mixes, or the Mimic? Again, just using random gifs of Matthew Lillard. This one's from Scream. I'm normal! Hey, well done, everybody. Well done, everybody. Well done, everybody. It's Mixes. It's not Mixes. It's Glitch Trap and the Mimic. Hydrate. Thanks. I should hydrate. I've been looking at too much Matthew Lillard. Hey, that movie is how I figured out who Matthew Lillard is. Yeah. Yeah. I'm still trying to psych myself up to watch it, but I'm a wimp. So, but I did come up with an idea. I was like, what if I watch Scream, but anytime any of the murder is happening, I tab out. And I don't watch the scary bits. I also want to watch the Scooby-Doo movie, because I think I need to ground myself in like, how cool I'm making him out to be in my head, and I need to see him being a stupid idiot. instead of like just thinking about Steve all the time. But yeah, so Glitch Trap and the Mimic are acceptable answers because Glitch Trap is the Mimic. But yeah. No, you'll only fall harder. True. I mean, I found out that he's a fucking D&D nerd, and he's really geeky, and just all the interviews I've seen with him, he's just such a nice guy. I've just gone, oh, he's too good! Okay. Who are we playing as in Help Wanted 2? Henry Emily, Cassie's dad, Michael Afton, or Gregory's dad? Also, this is a screenshot from Help Wanted 2. There's a thing where you help Roxy do her makeup. I kind of want to play Help Wanted 2 so I can do this minigame. But also, I think jump scares in VR would fucking kill me. Does she kill you if you get it wrong? Yeah. 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 If you fuck it up or you don't look at her enough, or if you... Yeah, she kills you. So it is Cassie's dad! It is not Gregory's dad. It is Cassie's dad. Congrats! Well done everyone who remembered. I see some of you remembered that it was a dad, but you went for the wrong dad. We don't know what's happened to Gregory's parents. Apparently he had a great home life, though. According to one of the many therapists he fucking killed. He has a great home life. And it is not Henry. Henry is dead. Sorry, Henry. This is Helpy. Congratulations, everyone! It is false! That is not my boy! This is not my fucking boy! This is not my son! This is an imposter! It is Help High. That is not my son. Everybody knows the Helpy lore. Anyone who answered true gets permabanned. Yeah. You'll get out of here. You'll get out of here. Okay. What are the two supernatural forces called? Soul and Essence, Remnant and Agony, Agony and Misery, or Intent and Remnant? Again, supernatural, so we got Sam. No, this is Dean. We got Dean. Here, look, it's Dean. Pointing. Look at Dean. Remnant and Agony! Yippee! Well done, everybody! Remnant and Agony are the two shiny glowy thingies. Souls, you know, are around, but, you know. Helpy's rocking my shit. Oh no! Okay. Who is the biggest yapper in FNAF? Mr. Hippo, Henry Emily, William Afton, Matt Pat. Who is the biggest yapper in FNAF? It is Mr. Hippo! Good job, everyone! I did put in Matt Pat to try and throw you guys off, but Matt Pat is not the biggest yapper in FNAF. He is the biggest yapper of FNAF. But he's not in FNAF. Well, actually, he's in the movie now, so... He's canon. As Ness, anyway. He speaks facts. You should have made Matt Pat another correct answer. Who do I think killed Bonnie? Who am I saying killed Bonnie? Chica, Monty, Freddy, or Roxy? It was Monty! We all know it was Monty! Look at this fucking hillbilly-ass bitch! Look at him! Fuck out of here! Is that, like, not canon confirmed? We don't have full confirmation, but, like, come on! Bonnie was last seen in Gator Golf. And he has green stains on him. And Monty has the sharp claws to play guitar. Play the bass guitar. Like... Monty Gator is Vector. No, Vector would never. Vector's a good boy. Jealous bitch. I feel like one of those things I don't need to spell out for it to be confirmed. Yeah, it's basically confirmed at this point. But there was the fucking, the propaganda in Help Wanted 2. No, in Ruin. In Ruin, the propaganda of, no, Bonnie welcomed Monty to the band, and Bonnie gave him his guitar. Yeah, Bonnie, you know, they all brought him up and they helped him become a star, just like he always wanted. Even though there's like a hurricane at the end where Freddy and Bonnie are getting like, you know, the Darko and Markiplier. No, but then Matt Pat played it. Then Matt Pat added a third layer on it. It was insane. I love it. Okay, we're nearly done. What is the name of the silly new clown that debuted at PAX? Is it Jackie, Baby, Abby, or Eleanor? Who's our silly new clown friend? Who is she? Hello. How'd you get up there? Hello, baby. It's Jackie! That's Jackie! Her name is Jackie. Baby is Circus Baby, but this is Jackie. She's a silly little guy. She's probably gonna kill us in Secret of the Mimic. Okay, I think this is the last actual question. Should you feed the ducks sourdough bread? No! Do not feed them bread! Ducks aren't supposed to eat sourdough bread. Maybe we need to listen to someone tell us why. Okay? Thank you for playing my silly quiz. Okay, I love you. Take care. Bye. So let's have a look at our podium. Third place goes to Helpy. Second place, Moth. And first place is Tomo. Yippee! Our runners up were covered up by my thing. But yeah. Big cheese. Good job, everybody. I'm so proud of all of you, though. I'm so proud of all of you. I think you all did really well. You know? I think you all did really well. You know? We all did really good. We all got nearly everything correct. You know, that's important. Yeah, the lag kind of gets you. Yeah, that's a shame. B is my mother. Oh, really? I'll send the report to her then. Okay. Okay. So... Okay, yes. So, let's listen to Mr. Hippo telling us an important thing. He's going to tell us an important story. And that story is why you shouldn't feed the ducks sourdough bread. So let's do this. Why is it not working? Come on, work. Work, damn you.
For fuck's sake, Connor, we got better things to do.
What, then feed the ducks sourdough bread? I don't think you do. Bitch, I hope the fuck you do. Okay. We'll just do it this way. We'll just do it this way. Hold up. Hold up.
Get the fuck out! Everybody get
Ironically, that's the same man. We'll just do this.
My friend, you have met a terrible, terrible demise. But, you know, I don't feel too bad about it. After all, if it weren't from me, it would have just been from someone else, you know? I guess what I'm trying to say is life goes on. Well, for everyone else, life goes on. Not for you. You're dead. But that's neither here nor there. It reminds me of one summer day in the park. I was having just a delightful picnic with my good friend Orville. And I said to him, Orville, I have a story. And he said to me, what's the significance of the story? And I said to him, Orville, not every story has to have significance, you know? Sometimes a story is just a story. If you try to read into every little thing and find meaning in everything anyone says, you'll just drive yourself crazy. I had a friend do it once. Wasn't pretty. We talked about it for years. And not only that, but you'll likely end up believing something you shouldn't believe and thinking something you shouldn't think, or assuming something you shouldn't assume, you know? Sometimes, I said, a story is just a story. So just be quiet for 1 second of your life and eat your sandwich, okay? Of course, it was only then I realized I made sandwiches, and poor Orville was having such difficulty eating it. Elephants have those clumsy hands, you know? Actually, I suppose that's the problem. They don't have hands at all, do they? They're they're all feet. And I couldn't imagine someone asking me to eat a sandwich with my feet. Now, if I recall correctly, there was a bakery nearby. I said to him, Orville, let me go get you some rye bread. Now, I'm unsure if elephants enjoy rye bread, but I assure you that Orville does. Now, this was on a Tuesday, which was good because rye bread was always fresh on Tuesday. They made sourdough bread on Monday and threw it out Wednesday, or rather, they sold it at a discount for people wanting to feed the ducks, and then probably at the end of the day, finally, they threw it all out. I don't recall. I do remember a man who would bring his son to the bakery every Wednesday and then go feed the ducks. He would buy all of the sourdough bread. Of course, you're not supposed to feed the ducks sourdough bread at all. It swells up in their stomach and then they all die. At least that's what I've heard. I never saw any ducks die myself, but I did notice a substantial decrease in the duck population over the course of a few years. I just never thought to stop the man and tell him that he was killing the ducks by feeding them sourdough bread. And if you want my opinion on the matter, and I told Orville this as well, if you want to feed ducks, or birds, or any kind for that matter, it's best to buy seed. I mean, when you think about it, breads of any sort don't occur in nature. They don't grow on trees or spring up from the bushes. I don't think birds know what to do with bread. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So I bought Orville some rye bread. What a fine day it was.
So that was one of 4 Mr. Hippo speeches. He has 4 of these speeches. They're all as long as the others. And they're all equally rambly and silly. I like him. Yeah, you either love him or you hate him. I love him so much because he's just so, the way he tells the story is like listening to your grandpa, right? Like, it's like when grandpa starts telling you a story and he gets a little confused halfway through the story, he gets himself a little mixed up, and he starts telling you a bit of a different story in the middle of the story. And he goes on a tangent, and honestly, ADHD mood, for real. Dave! Dave Beauty Cream. Oh no. Anyway, but yeah. It's silly. It's a silly time, and I love it. I love Mr. Hippo. No, you cannot eat my frontal lobe. I need it. I need it so I can live on with my son healthy. But yeah, I think the best way to end tonight is with some thematic karaoke. So I'm gonna sing some FNAF songs, but for everyone, who has joined me today, I really, really do appreciate it. I am so glad that I've had people come listen to me yap. I've really enjoyed this stream. I hope you guys have too. I put a lot of effort into that PowerPoint. I put a lot of effort in that Kahoot. I hope you really enjoyed it. And yeah, I appreciate so much everyone sitting here and listening to me yap. I love it. Yapping be so good I got into FNAF. Yippee! So, something I've been told a couple of times is that I'm good at explaining things. Yes, thank you! I've been told that I'm good at explaining things, and I enjoy it. I've been good at giving you the best details that you need to understand a story. I really appreciate that. I'm a storyteller myself. I like writing stories. And to be told that I'm good at summarizing stories and explaining them in a way that's understandable and engaging is, it's so cool. Yes, Pom has definitely been, handing that over. Half an hour Tomo got 10 hours of FNAF content. Listen. I love it. I love doing it. I love explaining things to people. I love helping people learn. And especially when it's things I'm passionate about. And unfortunately, FNAF is one of those things I'm passionate about. But I'm so glad that you've all enjoyed it. And I'm so glad you feel like you've learned some things. Yeah, You know, I'm gonna be playing some more of Into the Pit in the future, you know, I'll be yapping with B, maybe, about some more lore. I might try and get the horror girlies back on the Five Nights at Freddy's train. Maybe when Secrets of the Mimic come out, I can get the horror girlies back on the FNAF train with Secrets of the Mimic. I will sacrifice myself to playing a horror VR game just so I can get Palm and Maple back together to play horror games with me. That would be so much fun. That'd be so much fun. We never finished Ruin as well. We finished Security Breach. We didn't finish Ruin. Wait, can I join? B join the horror girlies? Maybe. Double Moth? Love it. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I am so excited for that again. And yeah, God. It's just a fun time. It's just a fun time. I love FNAF. It would be fun. Silly singing. My god, it would be so fun. Yes, please put Moth in. I want to see her dying. Well, she wouldn't be dying, though, because I'd be the one playing the VR game. I'd be fucking screen sharing it to these guys on Discord. So they're getting, like, the second hand, right? They're getting the second hand. I'm first hand suffering out here. And they're, like, second hand, like, you know. You know. But, yes. I am going to do my classic move where I chop the VOD up so I can do some karaoke. But I will see you guys, anyone who's sticking around, I will see you guys in a second. Bye-bye.